The secret for harvesting from existence, the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment is to live dangerously. The gay science. Most people die long before the dirt kisses their skin. They walk with the mask of life, but the fire's out, eyes dulled by routine, dreams traded for comfort. They do not fall to death. They dissolve in silence. The tragedy is not that we die, it's that we never live. We surrender to fear, to mediocrity, to the slow poison of what is normal. The soul was not made for safety. It was made to burn. You weren't born to fit. You were born to fracture, to bleed, to war, to drag your broken body up the mountain while the world chants, lie down, stay soft, be nice, be small. But you are the defiance, you are the fury, you are the resurrection of will. Because there comes a moment when the weight of your unlived life becomes heavier than your fear of death. And that's when the awakening begins. If the fire in you still breathes, if the ashes of your past still hold a flicker of vengeance, light the damn match. Burn through this world with purpose, like, subscribe, and become the myth you were meant to be. The world is full of corpses who learn to smile. They march in straight lines. They say all the right things. They worship comfort like a false god, but inside they are hollow. Ashes sealed in suits, laughter with no lungs, smiles with no soul. They're not alive. They're just not dead yet. You were not born for this. You were not sculpted by nature to bend your back in exchange for empty praise. There's a war going on inside of you, and only one version of you will survive, the one you've been, or the one you were meant to become. But to become, you must die. You must take the soft, trembling version of yourself and bury it under the weight of discipline, of clarity, of purpose. Not tomorrow, not someday, now. Every second you wait is the second you feed the enemy inside. The one who tells you to rest a little longer. The one who whispers, you're fine just as you are. That voice is a liar. It is the voice of decay, the voice of death disguised as peace. And if you let it win, you will not suffer an epic downfall. You will fade, slowly, quietly. You'll trade fire for familiarity, and in the end, the world won't even notice you were here. But there is another path. It does not offer comfort. It does not promise ease. It promises transformation through crucifixion. You will not become by reading quotes. You will not rise by chanting affirmations. You will rise by walking through fire with your teeth clenched, fists bleeding, eyes fixed on something bigger than yourself. The will to power is not a slogan. It's not some catchy phrase in a self-help book. It's the primal scream of a soul refusing to rot. It's the decision to dominate fate, not bow before it. It's waking up every day and ripping your weakness from the roots, no matter how deep they go. Because nothing changes until you decide to become dangerous. Not violent, not cruel, but so damn alive that the dead cannot stand next to you. So clear in who you are becoming that confusion itself dies in your presence. They will call you extreme. They will say, you've changed. And you will look them in the eye and say, good. Because this path is not about being liked. It is about becoming untouchable. It is about building a life so aligned with your essence that even death must ask your permission. That's what it means to live, to shatter the mold before it hardens, to write your story in blood and thunder, to look into the mirror and see a creature no one can tame. And if that terrifies you, good. It should, because the truth has claws. There is no salvation in softness. The soul that seeks comfort finds only decay. What most call peace is just a slow surrender. A man curled into himself, calling it contentment, when in truth he is retreating from the call of his own becoming. You must understand this. The pain you run from is the gate to your power. Every wound, every scar, every sleepless night, it's all an initiation. But most refuse the trial. They'd rather be safe than sovereign, rather be liked than legendary, rather die slowly than live loudly, and so they rot, quietly, fulfilling the prophecy of mediocrity passed down by those who died with their potential still buried beneath their ribs. But you have felt it, haven't you? That scream in your bones when you're surrounded by the lifeless, that sick churn in your gut when you catch yourself pretending, that moment when silence becomes unbearable, because in it you hear the echo of who you were supposed to be. Do not turn away from that echo. It is not your enemy. It is your birthright clawing its way out of the grave. You were not meant to cope. You were meant to conquer. You were not made for the cage. You were made for the climb. And yes, it will break you. But you must break on purpose. Snap the bones of your old identity. Burn the house that comfort built. Because transformation is not polite. It is brutal. It is merciless. It is necessary. The will to power doesn't ask for your permission. It demands your sacrifice. You want greatness, good. Then bring everything that isn't pure and put it to the sword. Your laziness, your distractions, your need to be understood, your obsession with being liked, slaughter them all. Stand in their ashes. And from that place, choose who you are becoming. Amor fati, love your fate. Not in a passive way, but with violent devotion. Not accepting what happens, but embracing it like a mad god who sees order in chaos. When your plans shatter, smile. When the world collapses, smirk. Not because you enjoy suffering, but because you know who the hell you are. And you were not built to bend, you were built to rise. They told you to avoid pain. But pain is a prophet. It shows you where the weakness still lives. It reveals the cracks. It teaches you the language of power, endurance, clarity, domination. So don't hide from pain. Study it, train under it, become fluent in its dialect. Because if you can learn to suffer well, there is nothing this world can do to stop you. Do not fear the fall. Fear the stagnation. Fear the lukewarm existence where you neither burn nor freeze. Where you don't fail, but you don't live either. That's where most people are. Walking, talking, scrolling, but dead inside. They feel it when they lie down at night. They feel it in their chest when the room goes quiet. They feel it in that aching space between who they are and who they could have been. And they will try to drag you into that grave with them. They'll mock your hunger. They'll shame your obsession. They'll call your discipline too much. But that's only because your fire reminds them of their extinction. Let them. Let them laugh. Let them whisper. Let them doubt. Because while they exist, you will become. And you will not apologize for it. Not now. Not ever. You owe them nothing. You owe your potential everything. You do not need more time. You need more fire, more clarity, more rage. Not the blind rage of animals, but the sacred rage of a man who sees what he could be and refuses to die before becoming it. There is no more tragic death than the death of the will, when a man still breathes, still moves, still smiles for photographs, but inside the throne of his soul is empty. No king, no storm, just echoes, just dust. Most people never meet themselves. They meet their mask, their trauma, their fears dressed in borrowed robes of politeness and approval. But you must meet the thing beneath all that. The thing that whispers when the world goes quiet. The thing that doesn't care about opinions, doesn't bend to trends, doesn't need permission. That's you, the real you. the one who was born in fire and dares to speak the unspeakable truth. I am not here to blend in. I am here to become a weapon. Solitude is your forge. You will not find yourself in applause. You will not become anything worthwhile if you're always seeking reflection in other people's eyes. You must be alone. Not lonely, but alone. A sovereign territory. A mountain untouched by weather. An ocean too deep for fools to cross. Because when you stand alone, you hear the call that others drown out with noise. You hear the question, what am I willing to become? If it costs me everything I've been. Most people run from that question. They fill their lives with distraction, addictions, validation, anything to avoid that dark room where truth lives. But you must enter that room, lock the door, shut off the light, and sit in silence until the answers come crawling out of your bones like demons. This is where self-overcoming begins, not in victory, but in stillness, in staring down every weakness, every excuse, every fragile lie you've told yourself about what you can't do. There are two of you, the one who was shaped by the world and the one who will shape it. One must die, and you must choose which one. This is not a process. It's a war, a violent, merciless, sacred war. And don't let anyone sell you the lie that this path is peaceful. Peace is not the prize. Power is. Not power over others, but over yourself. The ability to command your mind, to drive your body through fire, to look fear in the eye and say, you will move when I say so. Because if you don't control your mind, something else will. Culture, trauma, comfort, all of them are eager to claim the throne you've left vacant. So reclaim it, not gently, with fury. Discipline is the ritual of the gods. It is the knife that cuts through weakness, the hammer that shapes chaos into form. Most people want greatness, but cling to habits that ensure mediocrity. They pray for power while making love to their distractions. They fantasize about transformation while protecting the very patterns that keep them small. They'll do anything to grow, except suffer. But you cannot rise unless you descend first. Into yourself, into your wounds, into that place where comfort dies and clarity begins. You will be tempted to stop. You will be called back by the voices of ease, the seduction of familiarity. Ignore them, obliterate them, because every time you choose power over peace, you move one step closer to the man you were born to be. And if that sounds harsh, good, because life doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't wait for readiness. It tests you now, every day. With every moment you hesitate, someone else is becoming, and you are being forgotten. This is not about speed. It is about trajectory. Are you moving toward who you are meant to become, or away from him? There is no middle ground. There is no someday. There is only now. There is only becoming. And you're either climbing or rotting. Decide. There is no resurrection without crucifixion, no greatness without grief. You must kill what you were before you can forge what you are becoming. But this is where most fall. They want the crown, but fear the crucible. They want transformation without annihilation. They want the storm to shape them gently. Fools. You do not walk into power. You bleed into it. You sacrifice for it. You die into it. Do you understand? The self you cling to, the habits, the stories, the name you repeat to yourself like a curse, that is the cage. And if you do not shatter it, you will spend the rest of your life decorating your prison and calling it peace. What is required is death. The death of comfort. The death of excuses. The death of the soft lies that say, it's okay. You've done enough. You haven't, not even close, because you haven't yet become. You've only survived. But survival is not life. Survival is the bare minimum, the coward's trophy, the default setting of the almost dead. You were not born for default. You were born to rise, to break, to ascend through ash and scar. And so you must enter the furnace, willingly, not once, but every single day. Because the real war isn't fought outside, it's internal. It's you versus you, the version that wants to stay safe, and the version that was sculpted by fate to dominate existence. You don't need more talent, you need more fury. You don't need better luck, you need warrior-level clarity. Clarity that cuts like a blade. Clarity that says, I will burn for this, I will bleed for this, I will lose everything soft in me until only steel remains. And yes, the world will resist you. Of course it will. Because the world is built by the dead, for the dead. They fear the living. They fear the man who knows himself. They fear the man who has been to the bottom of himself and returned with fire in his eyes. So they will mock you, laugh at you, question you, anything to put you back in the grave they call a job, a routine, a nice little life. But you are not here for nice. You are here to become a storm in the shape of a man. You are here to carve yourself into myth. And myths aren't born in comfort. They are forged in suffering. They rise from the underworld with broken bones and unshakable purpose. That's you, if you dare to endure it. Because suffering alone is nothing. Everyone suffers. The poor, the rich, the passive, the powerful. But to suffer with purpose, to suffer with direction, to suffer and transform, that is where power is born. And that's what you've been avoiding. Not pain, but meaning. Because when pain has meaning, it becomes sacred. It becomes a baptism, a rite of passage. But most turn it into a grave. They carry it like a weight instead of wielding it like a weapon. And they die before they die, chained to their past, paralyzed by fear, clinging to who they were as if that corpse can save them. It cannot. Only fire saves. Only sacrifice redeems. So light the match, burn your past. Step into the unknown, naked and unafraid. Because if you don't, you will die surrounded by things you never said, lives you never lived, battles you never fought. But if you do, if you truly do, you will not just live, you will become eternal. Because those who conquer themselves cannot be erased. They leave echoes in time, legends carved in scars, footprints burned into the fabric of existence. And when death finally comes, it will find nothing left to take. Because you already gave it all to your becoming. There is a silence deeper than quiet, a silence that screams. It lives in the souls of those who buried their calling. It haunts the eyes of the content. They'll tell you they're happy. They'll smile wide for the camera, but you can see it, the hunger they refuse to name, the fire they smothered under maturity, under realism, under the lie that life is just about being safe. They are ghosts with paychecks, zombies with gym memberships, dead men scrolling, swiping, liking, anything to forget the truth scratching at the walls of their chest, that they were supposed to become gods, and instead they settled for comfort. But you are not them. You feel the pulse, don't you? That rising throb of unlived purpose, that electric ache in your bones when you think about what you could become. If you dared to suffer well, let it hurt, let it burn, let the fire consume the illusions. Because this pain you feel, it is proof you're still alive. Most people are not in pain because they're broken. They're in pain because they betrayed their path. And the soul punishes betrayal with slow rot. But you can repent through transformation, not by saying sorry, but by becoming the man who no longer needs to apologize. And that begins when you stop negotiating with your lower self. You stop asking, do I feel like it? You stop wondering, what if I fail? You stop waiting for permission. You seize the moment like a wolf tearing meat from bone. You tear into your weakness. You starve it. You humiliate it. You put it to death with daily discipline, not once, but forever. Because freedom is not found in indulgence. Freedom is found in mastery, and mastery is born in war. The war of the mind, the war against comfort, the war against the seductive lullaby of good enough. Do not fall asleep in your own life. Do not become the man who says, I'll do it tomorrow until he dies surrounded by yesterdays. Become the nightmare that weakness fears, the man who wakes at dawn with violence in his soul and clarity in his spine, the man who doesn't chase approval because he knows exactly what he's here to do. They won't understand you. They're not supposed to. They are built for sleep. You are built for eruption, for creation, for conquest of the self. There is a kind of man who becomes a law unto himself. He doesn't need followers. He doesn't need applause. He moves with the force of inevitability because he has become fate itself. That man is forged, not found, built, not born. He is sculpted from the wreckage of his former self through 10,000 choices no one will ever see. 10,000 moments where he said no to weakness and yes to the climb. And that climb is endless. Good. Because the man who climbs forever lives forever. This is eternal recurrence, not a curse, a challenge. What if you had to live this life again and again, forever? Every decision repeated, every hesitation, every triumph, every failure. Would you still live it the same? If the answer is no, change, now, without apology, without delay, because the clock is lying. You think you have time. You don't. Your death is already hunting you. It's not waiting. It's watching. Every wasted second feeds it. Every excuse fattens it. And one day it will arrive and ask, did you become or did you betray? When that day comes, you better be ready to answer with scars, with war stories, with a soul forged in fire and untouchable by fear. Because death respects the man who burned through life without wasting it. Do not ask the world for mercy. It has none. It will not slow down for your healing. It will not pause for your breakdown. It will not carry you because you're tired. The world is not cruel. It's indifferent. It does not hate you. It simply doesn't care. And that is your liberation. Because if the world owes you nothing, then everything you become is yours alone. No favors, no shortcuts, no one to blame. This is where most people collapse. They want sympathy. They want the universe to hand them a throne. But thrones are not given. They are carved from the wreckage of your former self. And the carving hurts. The carving is what kills the weak in you. The carving is what makes you worthy. You are not supposed to be happy. You are supposed to become. You are supposed to forge joy through suffering, to craft meaning out of madness, to alchemize agony into art. That's the way of the warrior. That's the way of the Übermensch, the one who does not react but creates. Not a puppet of fate, but its sculptor. Not a victim of life, but its author. You must break yourself before the world does it for you. Because if you don't choose your suffering, you'll inherit a suffering you didn't ask for. A dull, creeping, meaningless pain. The ache of the unfinished. The eternal weight of what you could have been. Most live with that weight. They wear it like skin. They call it adulthood, responsibility, realism. But it's resignation. It's death dressed up as duty. You will not die like that. You will not end with a whisper. You were born to roar, to bleed your truth into the earth until the ground remembers your name, to shatter the mold so violently that the very idea of normal becomes a joke in your presence. This path isn't for everyone. Good, It's not supposed to be, because most are too soft, too addicted to the illusion of safety, too fragile to look into the mirror and say, I am the problem and I am the solution. But if you can say that and mean it, you are already among the rarest men alive. Because self-overcoming begins the moment you take full ownership, not 50%, not, but I had a hard past, not, but no one believed in me, 100%, your fault, your fight, your fire. And in that ownership, you will find something sacred, not relief, but power, not peace, but purpose, not rest, but resurrection. You will become dangerous to your past, to your excuses, to every soft lie that ever tried to lull you back to sleep. You will walk differently. You will speak like a man who means it, and others will feel it. Even if they don't understand it, they will respect it, because real power doesn't scream, it radiates. It enters the room before you do. It's in your discipline, your posture, your eyes. You do not beg anymore. You do not wait anymore. You move, you take, you build, because you finally understand. The man who owns himself cannot be ruled, and the man who cannot be ruled is feared by the world and respected by fate. Amor fati. Love every ounce of it. The betrayal, the failure, the nights you thought would end you. They didn't. You're still here. And that means the gods are not done with you yet. So don't you dare go soft now. You were forged for this. Do not wait for fire to find you. Become the fire. The world will not hand you heat. It will hand you ice. It will freeze your ambition with distractions, drown your hunger with comfort, and silence your roar with routine. That is how most men die. Not in war, not in chaos, but in the slow, silent assassination of their will. And they will never know it. Because the world claps for decay if it looks polite. It rewards sedation if you smile while sedated. It crowns the broken as long as they pretend they're whole. But you are not here to pretend. You are here to rage into form, to crack your bones on the altar of becoming, to bury your excuses beside the corpses of who you used to be. Because becoming is not addition, it's subtraction. Not what can I gain, but what must I kill? What weakness must be severed? What dependency must be torched? What belief must be shattered so your real self can rise from its ashes? And it will hurt. You will grieve the version of yourself that you clung to for comfort. But that grief is a sacred fire. That pain is proof you're shedding skin. That agony is not suffering, it's initiation. The gods do not speak in words. They speak in thresholds. They don't whisper advice. They slam you into walls and say, now choose, break, or become. The pain is the oracle. It points to the door. The question is whether you have the brutality of spirit to walk through it, because most don't. They kneel before mediocrity like it's a religion. They pray at the altar of validation, sacrifice their destiny for likes, bow before the god of what will people think? Pathetic. You will not kneel. You will ascend, alone, if necessary, mocked if necessary, feared if necessary. Because the only thing worse than being alone is being surrounded by the dead. And make no mistake, they are dead. Dead in spirit, dead in aim, dead in truth. They will tell you to slow down, to relax, to enjoy life. But what they mean is, be small like us, refuse. Refuse their invitation to rot. Refuse their comfort. Refuse their false smiles. You were made to walk the edge, to dance on the blade between chaos and clarity, to shape yourself with your own hands. Self-overcoming is not something you achieve. It's something you do daily. It is war every morning, a quiet war, a holy war. one fought in silence, in discipline, in repetition, and it will feel like nothing is happening, but everything is. Because while others sleep, you are building the invisible throne inside your soul, and one day they will look at you with awe and call you lucky. They will say you were blessed, not knowing the blood-soaked path you crawled through, the 1,000 deaths you endured to become the man standing before them. Let them guess. Let them fantasize. Because you will know. You will remember the nights you nearly broke, the mornings you rose anyway. You will remember who you buried to be born, and that memory will be your crown. You won't need applause. You won't crave recognition, because you will be a man forged in his own furnace, untouchable, unshakable, unforgettable. They may forget your name, but they will never forget the force that passed through this world when you walked in it fully alive. And now, here you are, breathing, burning, standing on the edge between what you've been and what you must become. You feel it, don't you? That ancient pull beneath your ribs, that storm in your spine, that sacred hunger that has haunted you since the day you were strong enough to ask, "Is this all there is?" It is not. There is more. But the more you seek does not lie in the world. It lies within you, buried beneath every lie, every compromise, every watered-down version of yourself you created to make other people comfortable. Kill that version, now, not later. Later is the myth of the dead. You've already waited long enough, already betrayed your fire too many times, already let softness sing you to sleep while your destiny screamed from the other side of your ribcage. No more. This is the final exorcism. This is the severing of what you've outgrown. This is the death of your hesitation, because you cannot be who you are and who you were. One must be sacrificed, and in that sacrifice you will rise, not like the gentle dawn, but like a god dragging himself from the underworld, coated in ash, eyes glowing with clarity, voice trembling with wrath and rebirth. You must become dangerously alive, the kind of alive that makes comfort shudder, the kind of alive that makes mediocrity flinch, the kind of alive that makes death itself stop and stare. That is what Nietzsche meant. Not happiness, not safety, not contentment, but becoming, burning, overcoming. The eternal return is not a curse. It is the ultimate test. Would you choose this life again and again if you had to relive it forever? If every weakness echoed eternally? If every compromise became your legacy? This is not metaphor. This is the blade pressed to your throat. Live like it matters. Move like you're running out of time, because you are. You were not born to be average. You were not born to follow. You were not born to decay politely in a box someone else built. You were born to create the damn world yourself, with your sweat, with your scars, with your silence, with your fury. So do it. Now. No more hiding. No more delaying. No more false humility masking the truth of your potential. Let the world call you arrogant. Let them misunderstand you. Let them curse your fire. You don't owe them an apology. You owe them your dominance. You owe the world a man who did not ask permission, who did not wait to be told who he could be, who did not kneel, who did not fade, who did not die before he died. Let that be your legacy, not the things you owned, not the comfort you gathered, but the war you fought within and the God you awakened from it. If you must suffer, then let your suffering leave fire trails in the sky. Let your pain write poetry into existence. Let your discipline crush mediocrity like a boot to the throat. There are no more lifelines, no more saviors, no more someday. There is only this moment, this breath, this brutal, beautiful choice. Become the man you were meant to be, or rot in the grave of the man you refuse to kill. So rise. Let the dead keep sleeping. Let them stay beneath the dirt of their own comfort. But you walk out of the tomb. You drag your doubts behind you like chains. You burn every exit, and you become fire incarnate. Because in the end, there are only two kinds of men. The ones who died before they lived, and the ones who lived so fully that death was afraid to take them. Which will you be?